Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to handle Amazon DynamoDB tasks with using AWS SDK, Golang or Go. As you see in this PPT depicts my demo. Here we're going to write, required Golang code which can do the task at Amazon DynamoDB service, saying like creating a table, creating the records into the table, listing the table, loads the item, scan the item, etc. So all these tasks, how you can do these tasks with using Golang, right? As you know, Golang is very getting very famous in nowadays. To handle the automations at AWS or any other cloud, right? And this is the video that's going to help you to understand how does Go SDK works with respect to the AWS, right? And here we are choosing the Amazon DynamoDB service, right? All right, so that's the basic, introduction about my video. Now, what I do is, I'm going to take you to the Visual Studio Code. So this is the Visual Studio Code. In this one, I have created a folder. So if you see, I have already opened my code in my Visual Studio Code, and in this folder, I have kept all those tasks, right, that I need to do against the DynamoDB. And these files are nothing but Golang files. You see, the extension is ending with .go, right? Each file is meant to do one job at or one task at AWS DynamoDB service, right? So what I do is I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to do a code walkthrough of the file, and finally we execute this file and try to see how does the Golang works with respect to the Amazon DynamoDB service, right? So basically, I have already coded these files, and what I do is I will upload this file in my GitHub repo, and the GitHub repo link will be shared in video's description. In this video's description, you can find that GitHub repo link. Maybe you can download the same or fork the same, and then you can use it while learning. Right? All right. So that's basic information about my demo. So one more thing is this is my AWS account. Currently, I'm in North Virginia region and have opened Amazon DynamoDB service page. Currently, it does not has any DynamoDB table. We're going to create now with using Golang code. Okay. All right. So this is also for your information. So what we do is I will go first with the the first task, that is creating a table. So let's say you have a scenario where you need to create a DynamoDB table with using Golang code. Yes, this is the code that you can do it. Yeah. All right. So before I walk you through the code, what I do is let me give certain inputs on the the prerequisite that you need to do. You need to have a system Golang installed, and you need to have the AWS CLI also installed in your system. This is my this is my Windows system, right? Henceforth I have installed the the respective versions of the Golang as well, and also I have installed the AWS CLI. If you have not done in your system, please do watch my previous video where I have explained how you can set up these environment in your system. All right. So before you start executing this code, you need to set your context. In the sense, you need to set your AWS context with using AWS CLI. So to do that, what I do is we need to run a command called AWS configure. All right. So let me write it command called AWS configure. Yeah. And as you see here, I'm using Visual Studio Code native terminal only to execute my command. I have not opened anything yet. So let me run a command AWS configure. In this one, it will ask you for AWS access key ID. Provide your AWS access key ID. Then provide your secret of the respective keys. And then you will be setting the region. So here we are using US East 1. That's the reason it is a US East 1. And then output is JSON. So I'm just going with the default values, right? And that's also basically by doing this one, you will end up with setting the context of your AWS account so that the CLIs, the SDKs can leverage the the credentials belongs to this context and try to do task with the same session against your AWS account, right? So as you are aware or as you know, basically all the SDKs has the intelligence written in a such a way that it will leverage the the credentials being set by the AWS CLI, try to use that to get the access against the AWS account, and then does the respective job. Okay, that is for your information. Now, so that's the reason we did run this command and we set our context. Now let me what I do is let me evaluate whether the context has been rightly set or not by running the command called AWS STS get caller identity. right? So if you run this command, what it does is, you are checking you are checking if the SDS has registered a session, and and it has the get caller identity data in it. Yeah. So get caller identity. So let me run this command now. If this command returns something, so which means that it has set the context properly. And one more thing is, I'm using I am user credentials, and this I am user has administrative privilege on my this account, right? Make sure that you provide the necessary access or least privileges to do this job. Basically, provide only DynamoDB access here. We are dealing with the DynamoDB, right? Okay, so that's the basic note about your demo. Now, what we do is I'm gonna walk you through this file and try to execute this file. Yeah. All right. The first one, there are so many tasks. So here, I'm gonna walk you through the first task. That is important task is first you need to have a DynamoDB table, right? So in that case, here I have written a file. So this is the Golang code to create a DynamoDB, right? What I do is I'm gonna walk you through this one, and then we're gonna execute this. Yeah. All right. So basically, as you know, Golang. Okay. So the Golang code starts with the package being declared in the first line of your code. Yeah. And that's the reason the package has been declared here. And make sure that this package name should be your function name. Okay. So this is the basic syntax of Golang script, you can say, and you need to follow the same. Yeah. And in the down the line, we have an import. So basically, this is the import is a place, or import is a keyword through which you can the import the required modules to run this Golang code. Since we are dealing with the AWS session and DynamoDB services, and that's the reason what we are doing is we are importing these modules of Golang from the upstream, right? That is from the GitHub. So basically, these are the imports that this code going to do. Along with that, we have the Golang native, the native module that is of form, and the log as well. Yeah. So basically, I'm importing these, the modules, I can say. Yeah. Generally, let me go next. Yeah. All right. So the next one is the function. Okay. So this is the core part of the code actually, where we actually write the logic to interact with the DynamoDB APIs and create a DynamoDB table here. So as you know, so to establish a connection with the AWS account, you need to have a session, right? And this is the this is the piece of code which actually does a session being established against my AWS account, right? And this session will going to use the credentials which we use to set to the context with using AWS CLI, right? So what I do is here they have declared a session as a variable here, and in that one you see it is using the the package, that is a session package. Basically this, you can call it as a modules, or you can call it as a package as well. So I'm just making it very generalized, right? So it uses the session package. In that one it it invokes the must function with giving certain parameters. You see the new session with options. What kind of options? Shared configurations, and in that one shared configurable. Basically these are the parameters that have been given, and we are creating a session variable, right? And that session variable is used down the line. So here we're going to create a DynamoDB client with using the again DynamoDB packages that is being imported above, or our modules been imported above, right? You see the Dynamo, right? DynamoDB.new, in the sense you are creating a new client of DynamoDB, and it is being stored in a variable called service. All right. And then we are declaring a variable that is a local variable of this function, that is table name, right? Then in this one here, what we do is we are also creating another variable called input, and this input will be used down the line. So basically we are constructing the input that is can be used down the line. Yeah. So this is a bit lengthy one. Try to observe it carefully here. So let me walk you through this one. Here we are using the DynamoDB modules, or the you see we are using the DynamoDB package, and in that one you are create, in that one we are constructing the create table input. Yeah. And basically each inputs, okay, each task input can be constructed in Golang, and that is what been done here. So and with using respective functions, say create table input, okay, to create a SDK, to create a DynamoDB table with using Golang SDK. you have, this is the syntax that you need to format. Yeah. And in that one we are declaring the attribute definitions, schemas. Okay, basically these are the parameters to invoke the create DynamoDB table API, table APIs. Yeah. And provision throughputs, then table name, right? So you see the AWS string, and all these are been parameters, right? So there is nothing to declare much here. Basically you are following the certain syntax. Okay. Yeah. So and finally the complete the complete input will be recorded in a variable called input. Yeah. And then time comes for invoking the DynamoDB client service, right? So we have declared, we have put all the DynamoDB client in a variable called service, and with using the dot operator, I'm invoking an API called create table. So this is the you know this is the DynamoDB API to create a table, and where the inputs are being fed as a variable, and this variable is a big one. It contains all the parameters that is needed to create a DynamoDB table, right? And which has been constructed in a format of of Golang, Golang standard definitions or standard input definitions, right? Yeah. So that's what I was telling. So in this one, in the attribute definition, if I go a bit lengthy inside this one and explain you, help you to explain. So here we are creating the attribute name called year, and type is string, right? And then you have a title is also string, right? So year is a number, and title is a string, right? You have a two attributes, and then you are declaring the schema. So in this schema you are making an year as the primary one, and the title as the short key, yeah, maybe. And then inside this provision throughput, so basically we are declaring certain inputs, and that is the read capacity units and the write capacity unit, right? And that's input has been fed while invoking the create table, and that's also basically this is the line. Basically this is the line in the code which actually does the DynamoDB operation, right? And as you aware, that is the Golang code has a standard the function invocations. Okay. The output will be stored in this underscore, or null, you can say. And then error is being captured in the error variable. The down the line what we are doing is we are using the if loop, or if condition, sorry. We are using if condition and checking if there has been any error been occurred while invoking that a particular API. If it is null, if it is not nil, in the sense, yes, there is an error. That's the reason it will just log an message saying like, there is an error. If no error, it will not go within, it will not qualify the conditions, and it will not run this piece of code. That's the logic here. And finally the table name, in the sense, if the runtime comes here and prints a statement called create the table, which indicates that the Golang code has executed successfully without any error. Yeah. All right. So that's the basic code walkthrough. And one more very important points. So this is the same format will be used in while doing the other task against DynamoDB table. Yeah. All right. So that's the basic about code walkthrough. Now I'm going to take you and execute this file. So before you execute this file, you need to do certain task. What you do is, you need to do a cd to the path where you have kept all those Golang files. You see, I have kept my all Golang files, which is performing one task, in a folder called AWS DynamoDB with Golang, right? You see, create table, create item, delete item, etc., doing one task. Right? And although it also has movie data. I'm going to open this. Yeah, so I'm just open it. We'll just open maybe I just open with Notepad++. So basically, I just wanted to show you what this file contains. This file contains, it's an array of dictionary, if I can talk in a Python language, yeah? And it contains certain data too. So basically, we're going to use this file while doing certain one task against the DynamoDB, right? And that's what just I wanted to tell you. So now let me come back. So what I do is I'm going to do a cd to this part in this terminal. Okay, so what I do is now I do a cd, put this variable, right? And currently I have made a change directory to this path where my Golang file is being kept, right? All right. So now let me do a ls now. So let me do a ls, and we see those are the files being present here, right? Okay. All right. Now let's go and execute this file. So before you execute this file, so you need to you need to have the you need to do certain prerequisites. Okay. So here prerequisite, you need to init the Golang modules, right? And then you need to also import these packages if you are not imported locally, right? And that's what we're going to see now. So what I do is I'm going to just let me run a command called go mod, and let me make it big wider so that you can see it clearly. We can minimize this one meantime, right? So I will do is go mod init. So basically we are initializing the go environment actually, right? Go mod init, and let me call it as a test. So basically the command is go mod init, and you have to give your project name. So you are invoking some project here, right? And that's what being run is. So I will just use go mod init. After you run this command, so automatically the go will create a mod file. So you see the mod file is being created. Basically the mod file is kind of a container file of the particular execution, and this mod will be used to store all those all those packages required to run this particular code. Okay, that is the mod does. Okay, and okay, so I think we are done now. So what we do is we're going to execute this file now with using the command go run. So what I do is I'm going to go run, put a dash, and say DynamoDB create table, right? So this is the syntax that you need to follow to run the table, to run the go code, yeah, from the VS code. Let me execute this file. Unfortunately, this code has not go in. It is telling that no module provide package. In the sense, it is telling that there is a package is being missing. Add to this one, in the sense, to add this particular package, okay, into this mod or into this module. Try to do this one. So try to run this command. Yeah, let's do like that. So what you do is, as I said, while you are executing for the first time, or when you are doing for the first time after closure or after a fresh session, let's say if you are doing in a fresh session, this is what the error is expected. So you need to run these commands to get those packages. Basically, I'm going to do a copy now and run the same commands. I'm doing go get this AWS SDK go, right? So I'll just do that. So once you run this command, basically it also creates a one more file. So if I go here, so it is creating a dot some file or some file of the go, right? So we do next, we try to run the other we try to get the other packages as well of the error. You see there are three errors. Okay, so one is trying to throw an error for session, for AWS, and for DynamoDB. Till now we have done for AWS and the session. Now I'm going to do get for the DynamoDB as well. Yeah, so basically running the same command with pointing to the different packages, that is now DynamoDB, right? So once you run this, once you have imported, once you run those three go gets, which has been used in your module, or which is used in this go file, then you are done with the prerequisites. Now try to rerun the again go run code to execute the above file, that is a create table. Okay, so let me go back and show you. So currently there are no tables in my AWS account, yeah, and after running this command we should see the table. So let's run the code. So I'm running the go code with using go run, pointing to that file. Here you go, right? So our movie DynamoDB table has been created. If I refresh this page, here you go, the movie table has been created. The uniqueness of this executing or creating a resources with this go is it's too fast. Trust me, it is faster than the Python, yeah. And here you go, you see it has been created, it has created a table with those definitions which we see in the code, right? Currently it does not has any table items, there are 0 items in it. So we're going to do next, we're going to add those certain items with running the another file. Okay, so now I'm done with the create operation against the DynamoDB. How you can create a DynamoDB table is done. What we do is now we're going to create a record. You have a table ready. Now we're going to create some record into that particular DynamoDB table with using go, right? And this is how we do it. What I do is I'm going to walk you through this code again. Basically this will be a very quick walk. As I explained, all the next file that I'm going to explain covers the same syntax, but only the respective APIs gets changed. Okay, all right. So basically here we are doing create item, in the sense we are creating a record in the DynamoDB table which we created now. Okay, all right. So here again we are using the same syntax like we are did for the create table purpose. You have the package main here. and the main package has been in main, main package is here. So in this is main is targeting to a function now. Package is being targeted to a function now. And here we are doing certain different imports than the other one. Here you see, it's using DynamoDB attribute with the other, other the normal packages which we used in the other code or in the previous file. Again, along with that format log and the string conversion, so everything is being used here. Yeah. So these are the imports, and then here we are building a structure, and this structure is used while executing this function or while executing this code. Here we are declaring a struct with the item, okay, with the name of the struct is item, and then you are giving a keyword called struct, and inside the structure you are giving the you are declaring the variable like year, title, plot, and the rating. So basically these are the types of the respective variables: int variable, title variable, proper the plot, and the rating. Yeah. So what is this? Basically structure is kind of it's kind of another array, if I can tell you in a layman term. And that array has a capability to store the to store the variables, or to store the to declare a variable which contains multiple data types, basically, right? Now that is what this structure is doing. Now I'm going to go down, so we will walk through in the function main. So this is the way actually the execution of the complete code happens. So inside this one, again, we are creating a session with using the same piece of code, right? There is no change. And here also we are now creating the also creating the the DynamoDB client, right? Remember, here also I have given the variable name equal to svc, and that contains the DynamoDB client. And then here we are building a variable called item, and that it contains it contains a hash or something like that. Yeah. So basically what is it is actually creating the it is creating the format that is needed. It is creating a input format that is needed to invoke the create item against the DynamoDB table. And that's the reason you see the item, and then inside this one it is giving the variable this one. So if I go above, so what actually, so you cannot directly you cannot directly consume the, you cannot directly use the variable something like this until you declare the structure. Okay, that's the reason the structure has been declared here, and that structure is used as a template and to create a new variables, right? And here the variable is item. The names look same, but yes, the variable is item, and it contains this many data within it. Yeah. And after that we are doing a Marshall map. So Marshall map has been done, right? If any error, it will be caught here. So that's the reason again. So basically you see this piece of code, that is if error not equal to null, in the sense you are checking if any error happened while executing this code. It's just like a try catch block that you can think about in the Python code, right? And okay, so then we go next. So we are declaring the variable, another variable called table name. And then finally we are also building one more input. So there is another input here. The input name was the variable. When I say input is nothing but variable, here we built one item variable, and down the line we are building another variable called input, which is needed. And in this one input, we are using the DynamoDB packages, and in that one you are invoking a put item syntax, and that's when you are feeding item equal to av, and then you are giving the table name, all these. Okay. All right. So then this is the piece of code which is looks very small one, but this is the one actually invokes the required API and creates a item in a DynamoDB table, right? So here we are using the variable service which actually holds the DynamoDB clients, and invoking the command called put item with the input. So what is the input here? So basically this is the input been fed here, right? So this is the input with table name, everything. Okay, so that's what it happens. Then yes. Okay, so basically put item is been invoked here. If I go down, so here is the year is been converted here, right? Then it's a string conversion. Okay, basically this is a string conversion. String conversion to to a particular this one. So item, if you see here, item, what is this item? Item is nothing but again it's a struct variable, right? So I go above av. So this is the item. So basically this is the item that is being coming from here, right? Why it is coming from here? So we did here Marshall, right? So basically this this item is been marshaled and the value is now put in a AV, right? And that AV is fed as the as a input to the another input, and this is the final input that is going to be used to create a record in a DynamoDB table, and that is the here, right? And then you are checking the if there are no error. Finally, you are converting, you are doing a string conversion to a year, and that is being fed here to print a statement. Yeah. So this is what code does. So this is what how you need to write a code to create a record in a DynamoDB table. Now what I do is let's run this command. Okay, so let me run this command now. Create item. So here you go, the DynamoDB create item. Okay, so basically the why did we do a change directory, because so that I can invoke the files with using dot operators, right? So I'm going to execute this code, this lambda, sorry, this Go file, and you see it has been executed and it has returned a message called successfully added the movie, the big new movie, yeah, 2015 year enabled, into a table called movies table. Let's go and see if the records are being inserted. If I refresh it, here you go, right? So it has returned an item, and that is a record in a DynamoDB table called movie. So this is the movie table. In this one, you have a record with the name something like this, yeah. So basically, it has successfully created a record. That's a second task that I have explained now. Let's go and do the next task that we can do on the DynamoDB table. That is delete item. I'm gonna do it later. Okay. So before that, I'm gonna show you how to do the table listing. Okay, how to list the DynamoDB table present in your for example, what is that? Present in your account. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna just say terminal. And so this one I don't want. I just all right, so I'm going to go to the output, switch back to this one, close this off. Right. So basically, this is the screen has taken something. Yeah, this is what I want. All right. So we are again still in the terminal. But now what I do is I'm going to walk you through the list table piece of code, and then we can execute this file. All right. Again, here it follows the same format that I explained past two codes. Here also we have a package called main, and we are importing those the packages or modules. And in the main file, we are invoking the API called list tables. How we are doing that's something I'm going to walk you through quickly. So here we are building a session, and we are creating a DynamoDB client here and pointed to a variable service. And then here we are creating an input that is required to invoke the API list table input. Yeah. And then we are finally doing a printing the statements. Yeah. And here you go. So this is bit interesting, and this is the Golang code that you need to understand here. That is how do you iterate and print the list of tables. Yeah. I'm going to show you that how we can do that, right? So here for loop, you see it contains a for loop in the sense the result of the list table might contain a list of tables, right? So what you do is you need to iterate through the each item of a list and print those lists. How to do that? So this is what the piece of code does here, right? So first one, you see the for loop is been declared here. I'm going to maximize this one. So complete thing is there in the for loop, right? And in this one we are invoking the DynamoDB table API called list table, and the input is this is the input is been given here, and we are checking if there are any errors or if there are any error. If there is no error, right? Basically, if it is error, in the sense if it is nil, in the sense error is not equal to nil, in the sense there is an error, and that's what this error handling will be done here. And let's say maximum hours is a good case. Okay, I'm going to walk you through this error. So basically, if it is error, we are just checking what kind of error is all everything is been captured here, and printing the what basically we are just printing the error and returning nothing here. That's what it happens if there is an error. If there are no errors, so we are go ahead and printing the names of the tables. That is again we are using the for for each table in the results, for example. So where is the result? List table. So the list table, the list will be reserved, and the list will be assigned in the variable called result. In this one we are getting the table name, and we are doing a print. We are using the format package dot println and putting it as a name, right? That's what it happens. And then finally you see the exclusive start table name. Okay, So basically this is what doing, in the sense this is a for each loop, or you can consider this is a for loop, or for each loop of a particular array, which actually gets the item from the array, from the list, and prints it. Basically that's what it does. Yeah. And finally you have some some break conditions being applied here. Yeah. All right, so this is what the list table does. Let's go and run this list table code first. So let me go to that file, list table, and just run, go run. Yeah. And actually it has found that it contains only one table, and that is what it listed. Yeah. So I'll just go to the tables and see we have only one table now. If I go here, so we have one table, and that is what we listed here, right? Okay, we are done with the second task, it is listing the tables. Now let me go to the next table. So delete, I'm going to show you the length. So let me go to the load items. Yeah. So load item is very unique one. As you are aware, creating a record, as you know, the creating a record with using DynamoDB API is, you are just creating one record. But say that you have a JSON file and that contains certain data in it that's need to be imported on a DynamoDB table, or that needs to be loaded into the DynamoDB table. It is actually, the right word is loading the item. Yeah. So how do you do that? So this is what the Go file tells you, or this is what the Go file does for that. Okay, so let me go back, and just quickly walk you through this file, and we can execute this one. So here we are building a package and pointing to the main function only. Here we have the imports, that is a bit same like what we did as in the previous one. But here it has some extra, that is encoding JSON, formatting, input output utils, logs, string conversions. So all these packages are being imported in this particular code. And then we are building a structure of variable name item, right? And it contains these many variables, that is year, title, plot, and then the rating. Yeah. Okay. So this is about the structure. Then let me go to the for loop. So if you see in the functions, okay, here we have, let me minimize, this is very unique thing, and this is a good learning of Go code, I can say. So here not only I'm teaching you how to invoke the APIs, but also I'm helping you to understand the Go code as well, right? So if it is really works, or if you think that I need to create a videos on Golang, Golang maybe tutorials, then yes, based on your feedback I can create videos on the Golang as well. So basically, since we have added package equal to main, the runtime comes here and starts to execute this code. Okay, whereas the function, that is get items, will be executed down the line. Anyway, this is an independent function within this Go file. Yeah. Basically, what it does is, get items, as the get item says, basically loads the JSON files present in this local path. As I shown you, so we had this movies underscore data file, which I have opened here. It contains a list of dictionaries and containing a key value base. Okay, and that file is been referenced here, or been read here actually. So so here it contains the read file, and that has been stored in a RAM. And then then basically here you have the items. Yeah. So this is what it does actually. It is if I can tell you in a single term, it actually reading this movie.json file, and being stored in items. Okay. Yeah. You see we are using the JSON on Marshall, and the items is being stored here. Yeah. And it returns this one. So you are reading this file, creating a dynamic variable of this out of this one, and that's what this function does. Yeah. All right, so I will go next to the main function. So this is the main function where actually the API invocation happens, that is DynamoDB API invocation happens. So here we are creating a session. We are using that session to create a client, that is DynamoDB client. And then you are also, here you go. So this is how you invoke a function within the function in Golang code, right? So here what you are doing is you are invoking the function, that is get item function, where where it actually reads the it reads the JSON file, and stores the values in a variable called items. Okay, and that item variable will be used down the line while invoking the command. Yeah. So here we are declaring the table name called movies, and then what we are doing is we are again using the for loop, right? So basically what we are doing is, since this item is a list, what we are doing is, we are iterating through the one each item of the list, right? And And okay, so if you see here the items, okay, so if you see, we are doing the Marshall map, and getting the values in a variable called AB. If there are no nulls, if there are no errors, it will go next and frame another another input that is required to that is a input variable that is required to call the DynamoDB table APIs, right? So that's what been fed here. It is basically creating items in the sense we, so since this JSON has two items, you see the item one, this is one piece and this is second piece, right? So to insert these items in a DynamoDB table, it is doing a for loop and building a input that is required to run a command, run a API called put item, right? And that's the reason we are using for loop. So here you see it is using the range item in the sense it actually checking the the length of the array, that is 2, right? So here 0 1 is the index of the the list item of the list called items, and we know for each item we are just invoking. So basically this code is invoking this piece of code 2 times, and where it is actually doing the marshalling the map, and this AB is being used as an input here, and then you are giving the table name. So this table name is stored as a static variable. If I go above, so in the same function as a static variable, it has been declared, and finally you are invoking a command called put item, and that's all. So basically you are doing to iterating twice and running the put item 2 times, and just saying the records are being added. Yeah. All right. So let me make basically it contains 2015 and 2000 this one, right? So let me make it as a 2016 so that we will have the 3 records, because 2015 records is already there in the table. If I go back to the 2015, if I open this one and on the explore item, so basically in the explore item, it already has a 2015. If I give 2015, this item will be updated, which I don't want to happen. That's the reason I have added 2013 and 2016. Right? Let's see if it creates 2 records more in the DynamoDB table. Right? Now we are done with the code walkthrough. This is the time to execute this Go file. So let me run this file. Yeah, so run the command called go load item. So this is the same thing. You can do it for a very bunch of the if you have a bunch of data in the JSON file as well. Right? So this code still works. Maybe you can refine it, make it more intelligent, more agile one. Yeah. All right. So for now, this is good, and I'm gonna execute this file. Right. So when I execute this file, so basically what it does, it has created 2 records. Okay. And here you go. Right. It has successfully ran in the code. If I refresh it now, right? If I refresh it now, here you go. Earlier we had 2015 as a record. Now it has a 2 records been added into this particular table. Yeah. All right. So this is the how you do load items with using Go code. Yeah. Okay. So we are done with the task as well. So let's go and do a read. Okay. Basically, read item is nothing but it actually does a read operation on your DynamoDB table. So how to do that with using Golang SDK? So this is what the file does. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me walk you through this code, and we will also run the code as this piece of code. This looks to be very simple. Yeah. So what you do is we're gonna walk through. Basically it uses the same syntax. Yeah. It contains a package. So you see it contains a package main, and the main package is being used on the line. Yeah. So if I go here, so there is a main function being used here. Right. All right. And then we are also importing the packages required here. So that is DynamoDB attribute, DynamoDB session, AWS, etc. All right. So this is the import of the packages. And then we are building a structure here. So this is the create a structure to hold the info of a new item. Yeah. So you need to hold the record, right? So once you're reading the data from the DynamoDB table, you need to hold it. You need to hold it in a particular, the particular, for example, say, particular map or a hash map, say, yeah. Okay, so this is the structure being used here. And if I go down in the main function, so this is the main function, right? In this one main, so here is the main function. So this is the function which actually invokes a DynamoDB read operation. Yeah. So DynamoDB read operations basically. So okay, so now what you do is okay, so let me walk you through this code. First one. So here in this one we are building a session here. Then we are creating the DynamoDB client, right? So basically we are just no, we are just trying to read the DynamoDB table with certain inputs, and those inputs have been declared here in these variables, right? And then we are invoking an API called get items, and nothing but get. In a sense, if you see here, we are invoking a service called get item. Yeah, so that is a get item here with using this particular piece. Okay, so if I can go, if I can explain you in a more deeper. So this is a very constructive way of invoking the API, where the required parameter of the API is been given dynamically within the within the braces itself. You see, we are actually using this client service and invoking an API called get item, and this get item needs certain parameters, right? And that parameter is been given dynamically with using this, the get item input variable. So if I can go to this one, so here you are feeding the table name, and then you are finding, so in the sense you are doing a read operation, right? So you are giving the key in the form of a map and this attribute value. So this attribute values are being given from here, so whatever we have declared there, that is being used here. Okay, basically this is very constructive way of invoking the get item DynamoDB table API. Finally, the results and the errors are being stored in respective variables. Here you are checking the variables again, right? And then you are also doing the item, that is declaring a variable called item. What you are doing is, here we are doing the unmarshalling the map. So basically the output of the particular get item API will be say, it will be a map, and that is map is been unmarshaled now. And okay, so that is where being stored here, and okay, unmarshaled into the variable called item. Okay, and then we are just printing those the data of a particular record, say, right? Since we are searching a record belongs to 2015. Yeah, let's do. And okay, so this is what basically the code walkthrough is. Anyways, this file will be showed in this GitHub repo. The GitHub repo link will be showed in video's description. You can find it from there. What I do is I'm going to run this code now. So that is read item. So if you go to this one and read item, DynamoDB read item. So if I run this command, we should be finding a record into the DynamoDB table. So from this, we are just declare the variable form 25, 2015. Okay, so we have searched a record with the column name year called 2015. Right. So if I go here, so this is the record we have searched it, right? And that's where the output has been given. You see the big new movie, blah blah, rating 0, blah blah, everything, right? So it has basically returned. If I can show you one more magic thing, if I can search. Basically, if you want to search, you just need to change this variable. Yeah, so if we can do that, so let me put it as a 2013. Let's see if it returns. Yeah, 2013. Save this code and try to run the same code again. Let's see if it returns something. If it matches, it returns. If it does not matches, it does not returns. Basically, that's what I want to do. Here you go, right? Since it is not matching, it is, even though it is matching a movie year key, but it is not matching the other, right? That's the reason it is not returning. Let's say if I give it as a 2016. Why I'm showing this scenario? Because you need to understand how does it behaves in the normal scenarios, in the abnormal scenario when it is not there, basically. And here you go, it has returned that. Yeah, so while we have changed the keys to, while we are changing the search keys to 2016, it has returned. All right, so this is the read item file. Now I'm going to walk you through the other one, that is scan items. So scan items is nothing but, it actually lists all the records present in a DynamoDB table, which is actually equivalent to a read, but you are getting all the files, you are getting all the records and doing a iteration. How to do that in a Go code? This is what the file tells you. What I do is I'm going to go through this one. It's very quickly. So this is here is a package again. We have the certain packages being imported. So invoking the invocation from the main package are nothing but main function here, and then importing the certain SDKs, or you can say packages of the Go code, right? And then we are building a structure called item, which contains year, title, float, and rating. Yeah. So this is the one. And then in the function main, okay, so if I go to the function main, so in this function, it does the magic of reading, scanning the complete table and returning the output. Yeah. So again, let me quickly walk you through this one. So this is the session, and that session is used to create the client here, Then here, you are giving what is your table name. This is the table name you want to scan, that is movies. You want to scan with minimum rating like 4.0, and year is 2013, for example, say. And here, we are building a filter, in the sense we are, because while you are running the API called scan DynamoDB table, it needs a parameter called filter, and that is being built here. That is basically, that filter is an expression, so that is being built here, right? And then you are also going back to the go back to the title and here rating. So basically, we are using, we are actually building a regular expression required for filtering. Yeah. So again, you have a project expression, then the name list. So where is the expression equal to title? Basically, this is just constructing the filter expression. And then here, we are also building, we are also doing the expression builders as well. And finally, we are checking if there are an error while doing these two tasks, or these three tasks. Yeah. And then you are constructing the input which is required to invoke your API, that is scan input, right? And where it contains the name, value, blah blah and all, and that is being stored in this particular variable. And if I go down, so this is the place where actually the invoking of scan API is being run here. This is your DynamoDB service client, and you are invoking an API called scan with the parameter which has been constructed above. So this is the variable as a parameter, right? Variable acting as a parameter, if I can use the right word. Yeah. All right. So now let me go next. So the next one is yeah. So where is the so once we run this command, you are checking if there are any error during the invocation. If no, it will go down. The number of items is being calculated also here. Here we are using for loop again, which I explained in the read document. Okay. So basically that's what it actually does. Okay, in a constructive way. So here, if you see here, it is just checking the range of the items present in this result dot item list. Then you are storing that particular item in a particular map called item. Then you are unmapping the or unmarshalling the maps, right? And storing in a variable called small lettered item, checking if an error by doing this one. Then then what you are doing is, you are checking what is basically, basically this is very constructive, and it is not scanning. It is checking certain criteria, in the sense it is checking if there are any movies with the rating, with the rating 4.0 greater than O, something like that. In a sense, if rating is greater than minimum rating, then get me that item. That's what it does. Okay. Okay. So basically, in this records, if I go back to the record, so there are movies where the rating is less than 4.0, right? And definitely it should return something. So this is what the scan is. Scan is basically, you are getting certain items out of the DynamoDB table which qualify certain ratings, right? Or certain criteria. And that is what Golang code does. Okay. So basically this is what the walkthrough. What we do is, now we're gonna execute this code, that is scan item. So if I can do scan and run the command called scan items. Let's check if it returns something. Here you go, right? So it has returned a movie. So this is a title called Turn It Down or Else. So rating is 4.7. So found one movie in the table movies with a rating like 4 and 2013. So if I go to the 2013 and we see if it has, basically, this is what you did. So scan is something like, you are applying this filter here, like what you can do from the console. That is being done with using the Golang code. If I open this one and you see the rating is 4.0, which is greater than 4.5, right? And that's the reason it is returning this record. Right? So basically, this is how the scan item works. Now let's go to the final one. That is, we have two items. That is update. Say you want to update the record which has already been inserted into the DynamoDB table. How to do so? This is the basically code for that. So let me quickly walk you through this one as well. So basically, again, it has a package, and then we are importing the some SDK modules here that is equivalent to the creation as well. And then if you go to the main one, so basically this is the main one. So here what we're doing is we are updating certain record. For example, there is a record with the year equal to 2015. We are just increasing the movie rating equal to 0.5. Nothing but we are setting the movie rating equal to 0.5. And so it contains the session here. Then you are creating a client here, declaring those variables which is required to perform this task. And then so here we are building the input to update the DynamoDB records in this format. It contains the expression attributes, table names, keys. Basically, this is the syntax. Actually, the API demands, so it has to be in this format. There is no deviation here. And the return values, in the sense it's updated new, and the expression is this one. And finally, with using that the module, you are just creating you are just invoking a API called update item, and that is being fed as an input. Finally, you will have a message saying like, it has successfully updated the movies. Okay, so basically what we are doing is we are updating the 2015 record. If I go back to the movies table and try to get that 2015, right? So I will go to in the JSON format. So this is what the update is. We are updating this 0 to 0.5, for example, say. So to do that, what I do is I'm going to execute this command again. So the command is same, that is db's update, right? And that's also basically I'm running the this complete file with using go run. Let me hit the enter. Here you go. It has updated. It says it has updated, but here to view it, you need to refresh it again. So I go and refresh it. So DynamoDB service is again, it looks like it has updated. Here you go. Earlier it was 0. Now it is reflecting 0.5. Basically, it has done the update operation with using Go code. Okay. So congratulations, you have seen multiple things here. So finally, we are done with the update. So let's delete items. Okay. Basically, you want to delete something. Okay. That's the reason I kept this delete operation out of the box and at the end as well. So how to do that? So this is the delete operation that you need to do, that you can do on the DynamoDB table. And after this one, so we are done with this demo. Yeah. All right. So let me quickly walk you through this file, that is main is a package here. We are importing the packages required for this code. And then we are the function. So since we have built in the package from main function, the invocation starts from here, as I explained earlier. In this one, we are also constructing the session. This is must and should. This also must and should to invoke the API. And then what we are doing is we are deleting the record belongs to a column name called year, right? So to do that, you need to build a DynamoDB delete item inputs, right? And that has the keys and the table names being given here, right? And if you see here, the keys, in the sense it has the attribute values. In this one, you are giving the movies and the names, and then the other independent parameter is table. You are constructing this variable which is used to invoke this API. And if I go down, and this is the API being invoked here. So this is service.delete item with the input, and that's also it should delete the record. If there is an error, it will log this message. If no error, it will tell this has been deleted, right? So with that, let me run this delete, and that's the final demo of this part, final demo part of this final demo, final code demo, basically. And this is the final run of the demo. So let me check if delete, right? So basically DynamoDB delete item, right? So let's delete this one. Yeah, here you go. Deleted this particular movie record. So if we go back to the table movies, go to the tables, and if I can show you, if I go to this one and try to export the items, so we should see only 2 records now. So basically, if I go and click on this one, so we should see 2 records. Here you go. 2015 record is removed. Okay, and that you did with using Golang code. Yeah. All right. So I have successfully walked you through the code. I have also successfully shown you the execution of each file, even though this is very lengthy. I have walked you through. Right. All right. So with that note, I have successfully shown the things to be shown in this video. Finally, I can't request please to subscribe my channel. That would really encourage me a lot. So with that note, thank you. Thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.